Yes, living by faith today. Sit back and let the Spirit have His way. It'll surely make your day. Oh, living by faith.
Hello everyone, my name is Isaac Davis. I grew up going to Greenville Avenue, for those who don't know me, and I'm just so excited to be able to talk to you guys. And God has been teaching me a lot of things and growing me in a lot of ways. And so I hope that the things that He's been teaching me are also helpful for you as you just continue on this walk with Christ. And as we deal with all the things going on around us, the coronavirus, and then all of us just had enough stress to begin with. And so I hope that God is able to speak to you through His word today. And when I think about all the crazy things going on in the world around us, I start to think about this man who had gone swimming for the first time in years. He was so excited to go swimming with his family, and they like to go swimming at this lake. And so when they reach the lake, the man, being so excited, just begins to swim, and he finds himself swimming out in the middle of the lake, far away from the shore and even his family. And so he begins to try to make his way back, but he starts to get tired. The lifeguard luckily sees him off at a distance and begins to go to help the man out. But by the time the lifeguard reaches the man is just struggling, barely able to stay afloat, trying to grab onto anything to stay and get some air. But the lifeguard, for some reason, just stands there and doesn't help him. And for some reason, the lifeguard just sits here and watches the man. And the man is just flailing, wondering why the lifeguard is not helping. And eventually the man loses all of his energy and he's slowly going below the water, drowning. And it's at that moment that the lifeguard goes up, reaches down, pulls the man up, and takes him to shore. How many of you know how to play chess? If you do know how to play chess, you might know what it means when you hear someone say checkmate. And even if you don't know how to play chess, you recognize this term. When someone says checkmate, you might only know this if you're a professional chess player, but you have two choices. Most of us think that the game is just over, but you have an option. When someone says checkmate, you have the option to tip over your king and to give up. And this is what most people do because what else are you going to do? Except for the second option. The second option is to be stubborn and to allow your king to stand there and be taken by the other player. This is seen as disrespectful and rude and foolish for any professional chess player because there's no other choice. What are you going to do except give up? Anyone who doesn't know how to give up and tip over their king is seen as foolish and prideful and is not honorable to any chess player. Because any honorable chess player knows when to give up. Why do we go to the doctor when we get sick? Or to a lawyer when we're in trouble? Or to a lifeguard when we're drowning? We go to them because we think that they have the knowledge and the tools to be able to help us and that they care enough about us to help us. And Peter tells us that we should go to God for the exact same reasons. In 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 6 and 7, we can see a message that Peter has for us about God. And 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 6 and 7 say this: "Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time He may exalt you, casting all your anxieties on Him because He cares for you." You guys, right now we are in crazy times. Our lives were crazy enough before the coronavirus. Some of us already felt like giving up, and now we're stuck inside with a family who may or may not be healthy, dealing with the same school and still having to do assignments, without our friends, without the support system we had. And Peter tells us that we need to humble ourselves under the mighty hand of God. Because God's hand is mighty. He is able to help us. And He is able to lift us up. You see, this is why we depend on God, because God is the only one who can lift us up. And Peter tells us to cast all our anxieties on him because he cares for us. No one can care for us the way God does. No one can lift us up the way God does. And Peter says to humble ourselves under God because he can lift us up and because he cares for us. A lot of times we think of humility as just thinking I'm nothing and putting other people first. But no, humility is giving up. Humility is casting our anxieties on God, going to him and admitting that we are checkmated. God, there's nothing else I can do. I give up. I surrender. And God cannot help us until we surrender. Because we are a lot like a man who goes swimming in the middle of a lake. And when we start struggling to get back to the shore and the lifeguard tries to come help us, the lifeguard is going to wait until we stop struggling. Because anyone who's taken lifeguard training knows that you are not supposed to approach someone who is struggling and trying to grab onto you to get air. You wait until they are calm, and then you reach up and grab them and take them to shore. And God will do the exact same thing to us. You have seen times in your life where you try to reach to friends, a boyfriend or girlfriend who end up being trashed anyway. Some of us might be dabbling in all types of things we have no business messing with, trying to get right, trying to feel happy and good. And God will sit there and wait and let us fall under the water until he reaches out to help us when we have no other place to go. And so you guys, as we're dealing with all of the stresses going on in the world around us and in our individual lives, I want to say the same thing to you that Peter says. Humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God. Give up to God. And cast all of your anxieties on him because he cares for you. And God is the only one who can lift us up. Thank you, guys. And I just hope that God's word reaches you and is able to help guide you on the way it has for me. And just let's pray for one another as we're all dealing with life. Thank you.
Oh yes, we're living by faith today. Sit back and let the Spirit have His way. It'll surely make your day. Oh, living by